How to never be stressed or depressed again. Stress is killing millions of people silently, not with a loud warning, not with an obvious sign, but slowly, day by day, thought by thought, worry by worry. Most people wake up stressed before their feet even touch the floor. Their mind immediately starts racing. Problems, bills, relationships, the future, things they cannot control, things that haven't even happened yet. And before the day begins, they are already exhausted. What makes this even more tragic is that many people believe this is normal. They believe stress is simply part of life. They believe anxiety is unavoidable. They believe emotional suffering is something they must carry forever. But the Stoics believed something different. They believed that while pain is unavoidable, much of our suffering is optional. Not because life is easy, not because problems disappear, but because the human mind has far more power than most people realize. Thousands of years ago, while facing wars, political betrayal, disease, uncertainty, and constant pressure, Marcus Aurelius still found a way to maintain inner peace. Think about that for a moment. A man responsible for an entire empire experienced less mental chaos than many people experience checking social media for 10 minutes. Why? Because he understood a truth that most people never learn. The greatest source of suffering is not the event itself. It is our judgment of the event. It is the story we create around it. It is the meaning we attach to it. And when you learn to control that process, everything changes. Today, you are going to discover how Stoicism can help you break free from unnecessary stress, stop feeding negative emotions, and develop a mind that remains calm even when life becomes difficult. Subscribe to Stoic Reflections for more videos on Stoicism, emotional mastery, mental strength, and self-discipline. Because a strong mind is the greatest advantage you can ever possess. 1. Most stress comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. One of the greatest discoveries in Stoicism is also one of the simplest. There are things you can control, and there are things you cannot. Your thoughts, your actions, your effort, your attitude, these belong to you. But other people, the future, the weather, the economy, opinions, outcomes, these do not belong to you. Yet most people spend their entire lives trying to control things that were never theirs to control. And that creates endless stress. There was a man named David who spent years worrying about his business. Every morning, he checked the market. Every afternoon, he checked the news. Every evening, he worried about competitors. His mind never rested. Even when things were going well, he worried about what could go wrong. His wife noticed something. The business wasn't destroying him. The worrying was. One evening, she asked him a simple question. Has all this worrying actually improved anything? David sat quietly, because the answer was no. His worry had not prevented problems. It had only stolen peace. That night, he discovered a Stoic principle that changed his life. Focus on what you can influence. Release what you cannot. The next morning, he stopped obsessing over outcomes. Instead, he focused on preparation, effort, planning, execution. The future remained uncertain, but his mind became calmer. Most stress is not caused by reality. It is caused by fighting reality. The moment you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, a huge burden leaves your shoulders. Because life becomes lighter when you stop carrying things that were never yours to carry. Think about your biggest stress right now. How much of it is actually within your control? And how much of it exists only in your imagination? That question alone can change your life. 2. The future is the home of anxiety. One of the greatest enemies of peace is living too far ahead. Most people are physically present, but mentally somewhere else. Tomorrow, next month, next year, always somewhere in the future. And because the future is uncertain, the mind fills the gaps with fear. There was a young university student named Ethan. For months, he worried about graduation. What if he couldn't find a job? What if he failed? What if he disappointed his family? Every day his mind replayed these fears. His sleep suffered. His mood suffered. His confidence disappeared. Eventually, graduation arrived, and something surprising happened. Almost none of the disasters he imagined actually occurred. Months of suffering had been created by events that never happened. This is the trap of anxiety. You suffer in advance for problems that may never exist. Marcus Aurelius warned himself about this constantly. He understood that the present moment is the only place where action is possible. The future is often just a projection, a story, an assumption, a fear. The Stoics focused on today, not because tomorrow didn't matter, but because today is where power exists. Today is where choices exist. Today is where life exists. Every moment spent obsessing over an uncertain future is a moment stolen from the present. And the present is all you truly have. 3. Your thoughts are not always telling the truth. This realization changes everything. Just because you think something does not make it true. The human mind is incredibly powerful, but it is also deeply flawed. It exaggerates. It assumes. It predicts. It catastrophizes. It invents stories. And then it convinces you those stories are reality. There was a woman named Sarah who constantly believed people disliked her. If someone didn't smile, she assumed rejection. If someone didn't reply immediately, she assumed anger. If someone seemed distracted, she assumed she had done something wrong. Her mind created hundreds of painful stories. One day she began keeping a journal. Every negative assumption went on a paper. Weeks later she reviewed them. Almost all of them were wrong. The people she thought disliked her actually respected her. The situations she feared rarely happened. The rejection she imagined mostly existed inside her own mind. That realization was liberating, because she finally understood something important. Thoughts are not facts. They are mental suggestions, and you do not have to believe every suggestion your mind offers. 4. Stop replaying the past. One of the most common causes of stress and emotional suffering is living in yesterday. Many people are physically here, but mentally trapped in old mistakes, old failures, old embarrassments, old heartbreaks, old regrets. The event happened once, but the mind keeps replaying it hundreds of times, and every replay creates fresh suffering. The Stoics understood that the past is untouchable. No amount of worrying can change it. No amount of regret can rewrite it. No amount of self-punishment can erase it. Yet millions of people spend years fighting battles that ended long ago. There was a man named Jonathan who lost a business he had spent 10 years building. The failure devastated him. For 3 years he replayed every decision, every mistake, every missed opportunity, every warning sign he ignored. He would lie awake at night imagining different outcomes. If only I had done this. If only I had listened. If only I had known. The business failed once. But mentally, Jonathan relived the failure thousands of times. One afternoon, while talking with an older mentor, he finally heard something that changed his perspective. The mentor said, "You keep trying to edit a chapter that has already been printed." Jonathan sat silently, because that was exactly what he had been doing. He was fighting a war against time itself, and time never loses. From that day forward, he began asking a different question. Not, "Why did this happen?" but, "What can this teach me?" Everything changed. The pain remained part of his story, but it stopped controlling his future. The Stoics believed wisdom comes from learning from the past, not living in it. Your mistakes are lessons, not life sentences. Your failures are teachers, not permanent identities. The moment you stop replaying yesterday, you finally have the energy to build tomorrow. The past can teach you, but it cannot hold you unless you keep returning to it. 5. Gratitude destroys stress. Stress often comes from focusing on what is missing. Gratitude comes from focusing on what remains. This sounds simple, but it changes everything. Most people spend their lives chasing the next thing, the next promotion, the next relationship, the next achievement, the next purchase. And because they are always looking ahead, they rarely appreciate what they already possess. The Stoics practiced gratitude regularly because they understood a powerful truth. A grateful mind suffers less. There was a wealthy businessman named Thomas. From the outside, his life looked perfect. Beautiful house, luxury car, successful company. But internally, he was miserable. Nothing felt enough. Every achievement quickly lost its excitement. Every success became ordinary. He was constantly stressed because his happiness always depended on obtaining something else. One day, he visited his grandfather in a small village. His grandfather lived in a modest home. No luxury, no status, no impressive possessions. Yet he seemed happier than anyone Thomas knew. Confused, Thomas asked, "How are you so content with so little?" His grandfather smiled, then pointed outside. Children were laughing. Birds were singing. The sun was setting beautifully. And he said, "I enjoy what I already have." That answer stayed with Thomas for years. Because he realized something important. Stress grows when nothing feels enough. Peace grows when appreciation becomes a habit. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to appreciate ordinary things. Breathing, friendship, nature, life itself. Because gratitude changes perspective. And perspective changes emotion. You do not need a perfect life to experience peace. You need the ability to notice what is already good. 6. Comparison creates misery. Nothing destroys inner peace faster than comparison. Today, people compare themselves constantly. Their appearance, their success, their relationships, their income, their lifestyle, their progress. And because there will always be someone ahead, comparison becomes an endless source of suffering. The Stoics understood that every person walks a different path. Comparing journeys is foolish because circumstances are never identical. There was a young man named Ryan who spent hours every day scrolling through social media. At first, it seemed harmless, but slowly something changed. Every photo became a reminder of what he lacked. Someone was richer. Someone was more successful. Someone was traveling more. Someone appeared happier. And with every comparison, his confidence shrank. His own life began to feel inadequate, even though nothing about his life had actually changed. One day, while talking to a friend, he realized something powerful. The people he envied were comparing themselves to someone else too. Nobody felt finished. Nobody felt complete. The race never ended. That realization freed him. He stopped measuring himself against strangers. Instead, he began comparing himself to who he had been 6 months earlier, 1 year earlier, 5 years earlier. For the first time, he noticed growth, progress, improvement, and his peace returned. The Stoics taught that your only real competition is your former self. Not the world, not strangers, not people online, just the person you were yesterday. Because comparison creates envy, but self-improvement creates confidence. The moment you stop competing with everyone else, you finally have enough energy to improve yourself. 7. Your environment shapes your mind. Most people underestimate how much their environment affects their emotional state. The people around you, the content you consume, the conversations you engage in, the habits you repeat, these things silently shape your thinking. There was a woman named Emma who felt stressed almost every day. She assumed something was wrong with her mind. But when she looked closely, she noticed a pattern. Every morning began with negative news. Every afternoon involved gossip and complaints. Every evening ended with social media arguments and endless scrolling. Her environment was feeding her stress constantly. Without realizing it, she was training her brain to expect negativity. So she made changes. She spent less time around chronic complainers. She reduced news consumption. She read more books, walked more, spent more time in nature. Within months, her emotional state improved dramatically. The problems in her life had not disappeared, but her environment was no longer constantly reinforcing fear. The Stoics understood that protecting the mind requires protecting what enters the mind. Not every thought deserves attention. Not every conversation deserves participation. Not every opinion deserves consideration. Peace often begins with better inputs, because what enters your mind eventually shapes your reality. 8. Discipline creates emotional stability. Many people search for peace in complicated places: books, courses, techniques, motivational speeches. Yet they ignore one of the simplest solutions: discipline. A disciplined life creates a calmer mind, because chaos often produces stress. There was a young man named Michael whose life felt completely out of control. He slept at random hours, ate poorly, avoided exercise, spent endless hours online, and constantly felt overwhelmed. He believed he had an emotional problem, but much of the problem was actually lifestyle. One day, he decided to create structure. Nothing dramatic. Wake up at the same time. Exercise for 30 minutes. Read 10 pages. Sleep consistently. That was it. Simple habits. But within weeks, something changed. His energy improved. His confidence improved. His stress decreased. Because discipline creates predictability, and predictability creates stability. The Stoics valued discipline because they understood a powerful truth. A person who cannot govern themselves will struggle to govern their emotions. When your actions become stronger, your mind often follows. Freedom is not doing whatever you want. Freedom is having enough discipline to do what is best for you. After everything we have discussed, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Most stress is not created by life itself. It is created by the way we think about life. The Stoics understood this thousands of years ago. They faced wars, loss, disease, betrayal, uncertainty, and yet many of them developed a level of inner peace that most people today struggle to find. Not because their lives were easier, but because their minds were stronger. Think about how much energy you have spent worrying about things that never happened. Think about how many nights you lost sleep over problems that eventually solved themselves. Think about how many times fear convinced you that you were not strong enough, only for you to survive anyway. You are stronger than many of your thoughts would have you believe. You have survived difficult days before. You have endured challenges that once seemed impossible. You have made it through storms that you thought would break you, and you are still here. That alone should remind you of your strength. The Stoics teach us that peace is not found in perfect circumstances. It is found in a disciplined mind, a mind that focuses on what it can control, a mind that accepts what it cannot, a mind that refuses to become a slave to fear, worry, or negative thinking. The truth is, life will never be completely free of problems. There will still be setbacks, unexpected challenges, disappointments, moments of pain. But those things do not have to destroy your peace. They do not have to control your emotions. They do not have to define your life. Because every challenge carries a choice. You can panic or remain calm. You can complain or adapt. You can become bitter or become wiser. You can let adversity break you or let it build you. That choice belongs to you. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself that the quality of your life depends largely on the quality of your thoughts. That lesson remains just as powerful today. Guard your mind. Protect your peace. Choose your thoughts carefully. And remember that every day is an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, calmer, and more resilient than you were yesterday. If this video helped you, subscribe to Stoic Reflections for more videos on Stoicism, mental toughness, emotional mastery, self-discipline, and personal growth. Join a community of people who are committed to becoming stronger from the inside out. And as you leave this video, remember this. You do not need to control everything around you to find peace. You only need to learn how to control yourself. Because when you master your mind, stress loses its power. Fear loses its power. Negativity loses its power. And for the first time, you begin to experience the freedom that Stoicism has taught for centuries. A calm mind, a strong spirit, and a life guided not by fear, but by wisdom.